I mean, I lost because I got in my head. That goes to show, right? I could have just popped out one of the crazy tigers I'm used to like popping out, and just added some like Japanese here and there, like just a little bit. You guys would have been super stoked about it.
Oh man, hindsight, 2020. Hi everyone, I'm Ryan Ashley. Welcome back to No More Ink, the ultimate deep dive into the contestants of Ink Master, who also happen to be some of the best artists in the game. Joining me today, we have David Martinez. What's up, David?
Hanging in there.
You sweet thing. It's like we're back to Team Ryan here, huh?
Yeah, good old times, right?
Good old times.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about you. How old are you?
I'm 32.
Where are you from?
You know, Philly and Dominican Republic. I spent about 6 years in Dominican Republic.
Were you born there?
It's complicated. I was born in Puerto Rico, taken to Philly, taken back to DR, taken back to Philly. So I've been back and forth.
Oh, and you're in Philly now?
I've been in Philly since I was 15.
I love Philadelphia. I used to own a store there. Did I tell you that?
No, you did not.
Yes, I used to own a store in Philadelphia right off of South Street.
Oh, yeah.
You have an art degree.
It was an integrative arts degree with a focus on photography and graphic design. Yeah, I soon found out that I hate both of those things. So, yeah, that's why I'm a tattoo artist now.
Wow. Well, hey, you had to find out the hard way, huh?
Yeah, seriously, 4 years of it.
Well, I have a fashion design degree.
Look at that.
Worked out that we're both tattooers now,
yeah.
huh? I'm glad we paid all that tuition to realize what our dream really was.
I would say I wish I found out sooner, but I kind of don't because somehow I ended up here. So it's
Everything
good.
happens the way that it should. Tell me a little bit about your life. You were a boxer.
Yeah, I actually boxed for Penn State.
You boxed for Penn State?
I made it pretty far. I became a 3-time All-American champion there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool.
I don't know why in my mind I associate fighters with hard ass sort of dude mentality or something, right? But you're the sweetest thing.
Remember that first piece that I did in the show?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, it's the rooster in the field of flowers. I wanted to show that part of myself. I'm just a chill guy, but I had the background of growing up in rough places turned me into that fighting rooster. But always laid back in the field of flowers, which is art. For me, it's always been art, and it's never changed.
One of my favorite things about you through this competition, and I think it was one of everyone's favorite things, was your illustrative skills. You are a crazy illustrator.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Coming from you, that's really cool.
Yeah, you surprise the hell out of us every week. Well, we weren't surprised in the end. We were just expecting cool illustrations, obviously, because we saw so many come out of you. Such creativity, such a unique style. How did you develop that style?
I've been drawing since I was 7. I mean, I was picking up coloring books when I was a baby, but I remember a very particular moment where I was like, well, this is what I want to do now.
Yeah.
And I kind of drove that all the way through. I went to college for something that isn't illustrative or drawing or anything like that. Then I found out the hard way that I had to be drawing all the time, so.
When you sit down to draw, has your style evolved, or has it always sort of had the same flavor to it?
When I first started drawing, I basically started drawing anime and cartoons. As I became a teenager, I was infatuated with drawing realism, and I thought that that was the ultimate expression of art, having the discipline to meticulously put in every single detail of the skin and the hair. And then I found out soon after that within the drawing was the key to growth, because there was a ceiling to realism in drawing. And so that's why I ended up developing more of a stylistic way of drawing.
And then when you made your transition into tattooing, you kept that same sort of drawing, sketching style and translated it into the new medium.
Yes, absolutely. One of the funniest things about it is that I started to do more of an illustrative kind of painterly thing before I was tattooing. And as I realized what my flaws were, which was line work, because in painting, you don't really do much lines, right? I realized that was my flaw, and then I developed this entire style based on, creating values with lines and just, pulling it all the way through, so.
That's why tattooing is one of the most complicated mediums, because in a painting or in a sketch, if you put a really loose, just hint a line in there, it's not going anywhere, right? What you put on the paper or on the canvas is gonna stay. But in tattooing, the body changes over time, skin changes, so you have to be, more intentional with the things you're putting in the skin. Even though art has no rules, tattooing kind of does, because you want it to be eternal. You want it to last forever, and so you kind of are confined by those parameters. So you specialize in this really illustrative style, mostly black and gray. Don't really love color, huh?
No.
Don't love color.
This is my bias. I could be totally wrong, but the reason why I choose not to develop the style in color is because skin ages, and it's proven that black ink stays longer. And so that's why I was hesitant. But now that I've had this experience with the show, my mind is open. I feel very drawn to color now. I'm very drawn to a lot of the things that I wasn't doing before. Even the lines, how I was doing them before. I went back home and I started doing them differently, like to see how I can lay those lines in, you know, one at a time and use that skill and maybe transform my style just a little bit.
Yeah, you take the bits and pieces that you need and you translate them into how you would utilize them, right? Just because all these other people do color a certain way, you can do color, it doesn't have to be in that way, you know? To be honest, it was years after I competed on season 8. Every single time I would do a tattoo, after that point I treated it like it was about to be critiqued. And I could never see my artwork the same.
Ever again.
Ever again.
Yep.
You never
That's how I
see your
feel.
own tattoo, right?
I 100% feel that way. As I'm laying down like solid blacks, I'm like almost with a magnifying glass in there. Is that solid? Like, is that in there? Yeah, everything is a lot more intentional and meticulous now with the work that I've been doing.
I love that. So David, I love your style and your illustrations and your artwork so much. How about we go through some of your portfolio and check out some of the tattoos? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. This tattoo is a Filipino dragon mask, and these flowers are sampaguitas, and they're native to the Philippines. The design was to kind of embrace that culture and to make sure, first and foremost, to decorate that body part. We always want to make sure that when a client leaves, that they're wearing it. It's not just like a sticker or anything like that. And so that's why you see some of the leaves dripping down the knee, and then the moon kind of accentuating that body part, that roundness that is, you know, is to come with the glutes later.
I always say, like, composition in tattoos, it's not just a matter of like how things are arranged in the tattoo. The negative space around the tattoo and what shape that takes is equally as important.
Absolutely.
A lot of the time. What I love about this tattoo and a lot of your artwork in general is when you look at the flowers, you have the skin tone with the detail and all of the black work. But then when you look at the leaves, it's almost like a negative, right? It's almost like an X-ray. So it has the same style and the same feeling, but it's separate. It's like the opposite side of the spectrum, and it really separates those elements in a really cool way. Most people would be mortified by this many lines.
I don't know, there's something that is exciting to me to be able to produce that range of values with just line work and the change in between the inks that I use a lot and also the textures. You're gonna start noticing that I implement like a lot of dot work in the background, and in the moon there's like a very loose way of tattooing, whereas in the mask you have very straight lines all throughout. And like always, you always see that the eyes kind of glow within the work that I do.
I love it. Oh my God, I love this tattoo. One of my favorite images of all time, and I've always meant to get this tattooed, is the Baba Yaga house on chicken legs.
Yeah.
And the way you illustrated this is so reminiscent of all of that old folklore. It's so cool. And we have the super illustrative David eyeball. Is it a tree house?
It is a treehouse,
It's
yeah.
a weird little eyeball in the tree. It's so cool.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, a lot of textures. We got vines and creepy stuff just like hanging out of the tree. It was
I
a
know,
lot of
it's
fun.
so cool how that one vine is like a total negative, just negative swoop right underneath the canopy.
Yeah.
The cool part about your tattoos, David, is the way you tattoo. What it looks like on the day that the tattoo is done is what it's gonna look like forever.
I've seen some of my tattoos come back. I'm only 4 years in, so I haven't seen them like 10 years in, obviously.
You're only 4 years in?
Yeah. I I remember when you started too, you were 4 years in as well, and you killed it.
I won it 4 years.
I haven't seen a lot of my work come back, but some of the work that I did in the beginning of my career that had similar textures to this are still pretty much what I intended them to be. And I was really happy about that because, you know, I'm trying my hand at something that, you know, you don't really see very much. And so it's really nice to see it come back.
Refreshing.
Yeah.
Wow, the plague doctor. Very cool. You have your super negative, you have your super black, you have all of those textures. So rad.
I love when clients are just like, do your thing. This person came in, I want a plague doctor, I want a sleeve. I was like, say less, I got you right now.
Yeah.
This is the result of whenever there's that much trust, and instead of just looking at what's on the piece of paper, you can envision it on your body. Because like we've been doing this like day in and day out, and so we kind of understand how it's gonna lay on you.
Yeah, isn't it amazing what comes out of your mind when a client or a canvas just trusts you?
Yeah.
Right? Then you don't have to have all the parameters of trying to read their mind and telepathically translate what you think they want. You know, you get your starting point and then you get to be an artist.
Yeah.
I really think the best art comes out of those scenarios.
I agree, yeah.
David. I like this tattoo. Just feels like a comic book, graphic novel.
The illustration in this tattoo is amazing.
So David, let's talk a little bit about your experience competing. I know from personal experience that every artist that comes to compete enters that arena for a different reason. I know that when you were competing, you spoke a lot in critiques about your learning process and how much you were picking up and how much you were taking out of that experience. And as a judge, it was always so refreshing having a contestant be such a sponge and be so gracious and have so much gratitude for that information. And every week you learned and you applied it. But I'm sure that you got some criticism from some of the other contestants about having the intention to learn and to pick up, because Ink Master is regarded as such a, the strong survive, and you come here with the fight. So how was that experience?
I want to say this, and I don't want it to come off as like it's like super prideful, but the thing is, like, when you have your eye on a goal, you almost have to have like blinders on, right? And if my goal is to be an influential artist in the industry, it's not done in a vacuum. Like, I don't go into a closet and draw my ass off and all of a sudden come out and be the most influential artist in the world. That's not how things work. What you do is you follow trailblazers, and following is very intentional. When you're following, you have a destination, and in that same destination, you're trailblazing for the people behind you, and then so people follow you. You cannot be a leader without following. It's just not possible. And so when you have people that have been in the industry for years, you know, they're already set in their ways, and props to them, and I admire them for it. The only thing is I cannot take their advice, because if you're not where I want to be, I'll respect you and I'll love you for what you've done, but I have to find my own goal, because you don't look at things the same way that I do. Everybody has their own mission in life. And if I've discovered that my mission is to be somebody that's closer to a Ryan Ashley, or somebody that has developed a style that other people can follow along with, just like Nico Hurtado, then I can't listen to my neighbor that has done amazing stuff, there's no doubt about it, but I can't do the same thing that they're doing. I have to do what the people that have what I want are doing. And so, no disrespect, but I have to have my blinders on, and I have to have my ears covered to the negative comments that come from each way.
Well, that's why so much of this game is mental and emotional too. You have to keep those blinders on at a lot of times, because it's so noisy inside of your head when you're in that competition. So are you ready to talk about the tiger tattoo?
Sure, yeah.
David.
I like the mouth on it. That's the little piece of you that I see in this piece. The frame is a little bit out of place. I personally wished on the illustrative side of things that you would have brought a little more David into this.
It was surprising, because it was so uncharacteristic of the artist that we knew you to be up until that point. So tell me about the strategy with this tiger tattoo.
I think it was mental. Maybe like my hubris got to me. I was trying to show that I could do what you guys were saying, which I really couldn't, not without a lot of practice. So when I was not picked to be on somebody's team during the first time around, I was like, well, I had one of the best tattoos here. I don't understand why I wasn't picked. And I was like, wow, okay, so my work is just not what they're looking for. And so what I did was like, okay, I have to show them that I'm a good enough tattoo artist to produce something like a Japanese tattoo. I have to show them that I can do these things, as opposed to kind of like skating by with the same things that you guys already are not looking for. So
I know, but it's not that we weren't looking for your vision. Like, your specific voice as an artist was like our favorite thing about you, because no one on the whole season could like you could, like, so unique. And it's hard as a judge when we're giving you guys these critiques and we're explaining things to you, because I feel like there's so much going on in your head at the time as a competitor, and you have to pick and choose what you carry with you. And sometimes things get lost in translation as you're trying to figure out what direction to go in, you know? What was going through your head during that elimination? Like, were you like standing by your tattoo? Did you have like hindsight immediately and you're like, this is not me?
No, I just wanted to show that I could do the one pass line and I could pack color, but I overworked the face. First of all, the tattoo wasn't standing up next to anybody else's, that's for sure. The only thing I could think about was like, okay, maybe if they were to see that I was never in the bottom and that I can definitely do better than what I showed, then they give me another chance, because Jazzy's wasn't really that good either. So I was thinking that maybe I could have glided by that way, but I deserved to go home. That tattoo was not
It wasn't you.
me.
That's the hard thing, is just even on the other side of the judging panel, you know, where we sit, it's hard not to like fall in love with you guys week after week. We root for you, you know, but we can't take like, you know, your report cards or your reputations or what you did last week. Like, we have to like practice mindfulness and really focus on this one tattoo that is right in front of us, you know, and that's the hard part sometimes, is everybody has a bad day. Everybody makes mistakes. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
It's just in this competition, it's that one bad day you have that sends your ass home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you thought you were done with challenges and everything, but we have one more for you if you want to play a little game.
I'm down, what's up?
All right, let's do it. We're gonna do a little challenge called the Portfolio Challenge. Okay, so here's how we play. We are going to show you 3 tattoos from one of your fellow competitors' portfolio. And it's up to you to see if you can guess which competitor this portfolio belongs to.
Let's do it.
Let's see the first one. So this is a very, very cool black and gray dog portrait, obviously. It's got super high contrast, a bunch of texture. Are you feeling any sort of way?
Yeah, I think I know.
You know?
I think so, yeah.
Let's see the next one.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's super nice.
You still know?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. I mean, this is just...
Giveaway?
Yeah. straight
Solid
up.
giveaway?
Yeah.
Drum roll, please. It is
Jazzy.
Jazzy.
Straight up. Dude, that dog was fire, though.
That dog is
dog
sick,
is
right?
sick.
Good job, David. So what was it? What gave it away?
So the dog wasn't 100% giveaway, other than like the beautiful black and gray work that she does. But the lettering at the end was like, that's her signature.
Obvious.
Yeah.
Like she like stamped her like logo on
Yeah,
it,
yep.
basically. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. It's a signature style. I mean, could someone go through your portfolio and think it was anyone else?
No.
It's your voice.
Yeah,
it's
like
your...
there's nobody else that would be able to claim for that. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And what about from you specifically? What can we expect from you in the future?
I mean, your boy is always gonna be learning, right? I'm always gonna be getting better and better, and I've only started. Things that I've learned from this season are things that I'm gonna carry through my life. If I ever get the opportunity to come back, I'm gonna come back really strong. I'm gonna come back with a knowledge of color work that I was not able to show. I'm gonna come back with a knowledge of precision, so that with my abilities to draw and my ability to be creative, I can also show sides of myself that were criticized before.
Yeah.
And just put it all in a nice little package, put a bow on it, and deliver it, you know?
The evolved David.
Yeah,
David V2, whatever it is.
I'll take it.
Perfect. Well, David, thank you so much. It's really good to see you again. Thanks for kicking ass on Team Ryan.
Yeah,
It's been a pleasure, and I do hope you come back too.
me too. I'm looking forward to it if I ever do.
Or I hope you illustrate like an entire line of like super cool comic books and crush the art world. So
That too.
yeah, that too.
Yeah.
It's just a side.
I never really thought of that, actually.
It'd be dope.
Yeah, that's something to think about.
Yeah. The future is bright, right?
Facts.
And thanks to all of you at home for tuning in today. And don't forget to subscribe to the Ink Master YouTube channel for everything Ink Master.